Thank you for joining us. Please like and share. I know it's been a little while since you've seen me, but we have a very important show that's going on this evening. We have two special guests that will be joining us. Of course, in many instances, we talk about the things that may not be the most positive that are going on in the Black community, and sometimes we spend a lot of energy saying the things that we should be doing and what we need to be doing. But in many instances, we don't know that there's already a lot of good things that are going on. And before we get started with that, I'm going to start off with a really quick 2-minute video. So take a look.
This project has been a desire of mine for the last 2 to 3 years. We initially started doing business in this community 4 years ago with a coin laundry facility. And I had thought that perhaps other individuals would come to create economic development within this Woodlawn community, but it never happened.
Okay.
And my vision was to take over and redevelop the entire block. Since the Koreans weren't trying to do it, the Arabs weren't trying to do it, and obviously we as a people weren't trying to do it. So our aim is to take this section here from 625 all the way to the next end of the city block, which would be St. Lawrence. This corner would be something dealing with economics. The second business will be dealing with food, because it's dealing with the food desert. The section that's right next to us over here will be dealing with training for entrepreneurship. Because, I mean, we got enough job training facilities, but how many entrepreneurs have we produced that would be the ones who would create jobs for the various communities? That's what our aim and goal is. And the last section over there would be dealing with health and wellness, medical facilities. That other section there. And on the corner lot is where we're going to be putting the community garden, or producing vegetables, fresh vegetables, and we call it an urban farm, urban garden.
So how much space is this?
This is 2 city lots. We have food deserts throughout the city of Chicago. And the aim and purpose to be able to demonstrate to the community that farming and gardening and doing for self connects us to the earth. It connects us to nature. And that's something that's really missing within the urban corridor. So our aim and purpose is to develop this section here for the farm garden. And then, as I indicated, take over the entire city block.
Beautiful. I pray that everyone enjoyed that piece as much as I have. It's a beautiful project, and it's not about talking about what needs to be done, but our brother, which we'll get to a little bit later, is actually working to make those things happen. And one of the aspects of this program is that you notice that was talked about was actually the Wellness Center. And today I have an individual that's with me that's going to go into that a little bit more. And I'm going to bring up our beautiful sister, Dr. Constance Shabazz. Let's welcome her up with a virtual applause. And even though she can't see you, she can feel your energy. So we look forward to it. And please, yeah, somebody just showed the love. I see a heart that just popped up. So let's just start with Sister Dr. Constance Shabazz. Can you share a little bit about who you are and your background and how you became a part of this project?
Well, first of all, I want to thank Allah for this opportunity to speak to your audience this evening. Again, my name is Dr. Constance Shabazz, and I'm a physician and a native Chicagoan, and have always been interested in health and the wellness of our people. So the way we got started with this project is that back in March of last year, as we know, COVID-19 laid its heavy hand on us, particularly our community. And we saw how the South Shore and Woodlawn communities were being so hard hit. At one time, the South Shore community had both the highest number of infections as well as the highest number of deaths from COVID-19. And so it wasn't just that the virus was affecting us. This was just the response to the poor health conditions in our community. So I, along with a number of well-meaning and interested and engaged people who are dedicated to providing services to the community, came together and started some robust discussions about what can we do. Here we had all of this education. Here, many of us were working as healthcare providers or people who were working in public health, educators or business people. And here we felt like we were, as the expression, we were flat-footed, we're caught flat-footed, not able to really respond to this pandemic. So what we ended up doing was, out of these discussions, we identified some areas that we felt that were under addressed. We looked at the food deserts that exist in many of our communities. We looked at the prevalence of addictions and the fact that this COVID-19 had actually exacerbated addiction use, addictive disuse disorders, as we call it, as well as exacerbated mental health issues. So we wanted to try to see if there was any way that we can help to address that. So coinciding this, I was having discussions with our next guest, who's also on this program, Kurt Akbar. And we talked about, we've always been talking about how can we uplift our people. And it just so happened in one of our earlier conversations as we were formulating this idea that he told me, he said, well, I just bought a city block. And I said, at first I said, okay, we continued on with our conversation. And I remember getting off the phone and said, this brother just told me he bought a city block. So what does that mean? So, he probably doesn't recall this, but when I called him back sometime later, I said, now, could you explain to me what that means that you bought a city block, And so once we got past that, and I really realized that, I knew he wasn't telling me something that wasn't true. But what we were able to really start talking about was what was his vision for this. And we realized that some of the things that we were talking about doing in terms of health and wellness really were wedded. We were talking about the same thing, because when we were talking about coming up with some kind of way to address these health disparities, we knew, the group that I was talking to knew, that we did not want to come in with the same kind of model that has not been working for us in our community. So we wanted to be sure that we included in our model, not just, more doctors or nurse practitioners, but also all of the other social determinants that are absolutely necessary to improve the health of our community, not just to gain wealth, but maintain wealth. Not just to wait until that body is broken down, but to prevent it from breaking down in the first place. So we talked about how we could marry the two programs. We wanted to make sure that if we are treating someone's addiction, helping someone with their mental illness, and providing them with nutrition education and access to healthy fruits, produce, fruits and vegetables, that we knew we had to have other things for that person to even aspire to once they became healthy. So to get someone healthy mentally and physically, but they have no job, they don't have housing, they don't have transportation, they don't have access to food, fresh fruits and vegetables, and even a healthy environment in the community, a safe place to walk, to enjoy, Allah's nature, then we're going to really be setting ourselves up for failure. So what our brother, I'm sure, is going to tell you about his vision really just is part of a health and wellness. So what we did, with Allah's grace, we started the process of developing our program. We're a 501c3 organization. We formed our board. We've actually done an excellent job of reaching out to other community partners in the Woodlawn area. And our brother has graciously put forth a lot of his own personal investment to create a space within this building, which is located in the 600 East block of 67th Street in Woodlawn on Chicago's South Side. And so right now we are in finishing up phase 1 of the build out, which will take up about 2,500 square feet. And in there, we will be offering a new model of care. We call it a whole innovative holistic health center, where we will be using both Western as well as non-Western modalities. We have brought on board a physician who has a background in integrative medicine. We have a doctor of acupuncture. We have a nutritionist, and we have a certified permaculturist, which is a fancy way of saying that somebody who knows how to develop a community garden. And so our vision is that people who will come to us, they will come to have a complete assessment of what their needs are. They will have an individual plan of care. Everyone will receive nutrition counseling and education and counseling. And so our whole motto is to, give the basics. In addition, we will utilize other modalities such as deep breathing, meditation, yoga, Tai Chi. And the building that you saw, the beautiful building on the side, that's our vision for our holistic healing space. That's going to be our community garden. In that space, we will be growing fresh fruits and vegetables and herbs, but also we will dedicate space where some of those other modalities, such as the deep breathing, yoga, Tai Chi, just a space where people can just, sit and pray and meditate. These are things that we need. We need these oases in our community. So that's what the Salaam Community Wellness Center's first phase is going to be. And so I'm just so excited to be a part of this. Believe it or not, I mean, last year, just this time, this was really just a vision. And to think that God has blessed us with this opportunity to be able to bring this into fruition during a time of a pandemic is such a blessing. And because I think, as my team would say, is that here we realize that we are our own saviors with God's help. So thank you for this opportunity to share this little bit with your viewers. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a beautiful thing, and in the midst of, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, during this time, has told us to stay in our chambers and reflect, and you utilize it as a time for purification, study, and reflection. And one of the things that is always important to see, which I know you see, is that we should always be looking and knowing that nothing escapes the Lord's service. So even in the midst of all that is happening, and all that has happened, it's beautiful to be able to speak with you, to see that there's light that's still occurring, that there's still development, there's still things that are being put in place so that our community can have a better reality and better situation. Before I bring Brother Akbar on, can you tell us a little bit about your background and in terms of by the standards of this world, what your background and your qualifications are?
That's a good question. I know we had a conversation earlier that it always sounds good when you have degrees, but I think I learned most in my life experiences. I'm a Chicago native, as I said. I went to the Chicago public school system. My mother was a teacher, and I got my undergraduate degree in Alabama, a small HBCU, Stillman College, and I did my medical degree at Southern Illinois University School of Medicine, and did my residency training in Chicago with some of the Northwestern affiliates. I also have a master's of business administration and master's of public health from St. Xavier's University in Chicago, and I have a master's of public administration from Harvard University at the John F. Kennedy School of Government. I've worked in many community health centers around the city, and these are health centers that are what we call the safety net health centers. They take care of people regardless as to their ability to pay, whether or not they have insurance or they're uninsured, low income. And the reason why I have worked with those health centers is because I think that they are probably the best example of an Islamic health system. In other words, it's an equitable system. And so I've served in various capacities over the years. I've been a medical director. I've been a staff physician, a medical director. I've also been a CEO of a health center. And for the past, I'd say about 12 or 13 years, I've had my own consulting firm called Health Resources Consultants, where I've actually helped health centers in various capacities. Most recently, I worked with the Inner City Muslim Action Network, or Iman, which most people know about, and I helped them as they became what's called a federally qualified lookalike center, as well as most recently a federally qualified health center, a 330 grantee. So I have a lot of experience working with health centers, and I said, well, hey, doing this, not saying that it's easy. I had the tools to the trade, and that's where I'm saying that it wasn't my formal education that
Right.
prepared
Yes,
me for
ma'am.
this. Really was more the experience, my professional experience. Also, many years ago, prior to even going to medical school, right before I went back and got my bachelor's degree, I worked for 4 years at Muhammad Speaks newspaper. And I learned a whole lot, a whole lot. And we don't even have to speak. We're going to spare everybody all the details of that. But I mean, I am going to say something about that experience is that I came in as a secretary, and I laugh sometimes because, as it said, I came in as a no typing secretary. I didn't know how to type. So, but during that time, I was able to learn. I was working in the production department, so I worked on under the famed artist Eugene Magee. So the artwork that is on the newspaper, the hands across the globe,
Mhm.
and I worked as an assistant production manager, and then I worked in the editorial department. I was to this day, I don't even know what that title was, but I was the one that was making sure that the paper got to press on time and making sure all the content was in. So some kind of editor, don't know what it means, but I learned so much. And I say, particularly as a Black woman, that I had the opportunity to learn about things and be in positions of authority that I think many women have yet to this day been able to get the opportunity to do. So I really learned a lot. I really appreciate all of the experiences that I have there. But I mean, healthcare has always been my love, so that's why I'm in this lane now. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, don't go anywhere. I'm going to bring up our brother Kurt, or many of us know him by Kurt, or brother Akbar, and let's bring him up with a virtual round of applause as well. And of course, it's always my brother's always working. You know, of course, this project that we're discussing, which we're working on have a name. It's the Salaam Community Wellness Center is just a part of a bigger project that, of course, that
Yeah.
you've seen clips of. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Brother Akbar?
Yes, as we mentioned earlier, Brother Troy, well, I'd first like to start by saying Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, with the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. We thank you for this opportunity, Brother Troy, to be able to address your audience. And thank you, Sister Constance, for your great inspirational remarks. Every time I listen to you talk, I gain more and more and more energy and inspiration to continue to work hard and do the things that I do to work to bring this into fruition. So praise be to Allah for everything that you're doing, sister. Love you.
That's right.
Praise be to Allah. So, Brother Troy, you've seen it, brother. Like I said earlier in the lecture that you gave me about a 5 or 10 minute clip, and it was my desire to see some type of economic development in a corridor that was disinvested into. Mostly everything on that entire block, 95% of it was totally boarded up. We waited for other entrepreneurs, other business developers to come into that community to bring some kind of life into that community. However, it never did materialize. And after continuing my studies by perusing books like Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson, who told us that we as Black people are in deep deep, deep trouble. He said after the eve of the Civil War in 1865, Black people own 1/2 of 1% of this nation's wealth. And he said even now, today, at that time, 2020 or 2019, he said Black people still own 1/2 of 1% of this nation's wealth. What is it that we could do to be able to change that narrative was something that gave me a great motivation to do what I've worked very diligently to bring about a team to be able to make into reality a community. Because as we know, Brother Troy, I haven't seen not one that we could actually call a real Black community where a dollar would circulate amongst our community more than 6 hours, where we'll be able to maintain decent food and vegetables, fruits and vegetables and things of that nature that would breathe life into the people in that community. So reading and studying different books, obviously the Quran as being the best foundation, as being my whole guide and light and criteria for doing what I do and motivational behind what I do. That whole vision of bringing into fruition one city block. And I think it was best said by Dr. Umar Johnson, who said, start with a city block. Just start with one block. And this afforded us a great opportunity to inculcate that type of message. And we know it's the message of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the do for self aspect of it all. Instead of looking for crumbs from other people's table to get a job, we need to be able to build our own reality and control some of the economics within our own community. And this is what the motivation that goes behind everything that we are doing here in this project.
And even though we're focusing on this project, can you share with our audience a little bit more about what else you got going on? Of course, you're assisting and help with by purchasing, as Dr. Shabazz mentioned, how you brought her in. But that block, before you bought the rest of the block, you started with a corner. And on that corner is
a laundry facility that is utilized by that people, that the community of Woodlawn. We know that laundry is an essential business. And especially even now during the time of the pandemic, people really have to have clean laundry. It's not only a luxury, but really it's a necessity. It's a right to have clean clothes. And so Allah has blessed us with a facility that I bought 4 years ago. I think it was a pre-foreclosure, and the place was boarded up. Everything was stripped out of the place, and Allah blessed me with the resources and the talent and the team that came about to aid me in opening up that place 4 years, almost 5 years ago now.
Praise to Allah. And of course, we're focusing on this block, but I was pushing you to, as an open way of that's not the only laundromat that you have.
Yes. I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for continuing to bring people in my life. I think that the earlier location that I have to glean a level of experience after was with my father. My father had a chain of laundry facilities throughout the Chicagoland and surrounding suburb area. He actually named them after my name. They were called Curb D Laundromat.
Wow.
And we had locations throughout the Chatham community, the Woodlawn community, Inglewood community, Beverly community, all over the city of Chicago and some surrounding suburbs. We had locations there. And it was very interesting to see a Black man doing something for himself. He wanted to be able to show a way of being able to develop business and economics within our own community.
So how many laundromats do you have now today?
Anywhere. I sometimes really, Brother Troy, I sometimes lose count. Really, real talk. Because sometimes I say, man, I forgot all about that store because I haven't been here in a week or two. But praise be to Allah. we've been blessed to operate nine facilities throughout the surrounding Chicagoland and suburban area. And Brother Troy, we need to get you out to the Chicago Heights location. It's a
Yes,
location that
sir.
we've been operating now just short of 6 months. It's
Praise
a
the
whole
Lord.
big project that's out there in well, East Chicago Heights. Yeah, we have to get you out there.
And I gotta send a shout out because of course this is really not your first block. I guess the other one, maybe consider it a block. I guess it's kind of a corner, but you also have another laundromat that's on 71st and Yates, right?
Yes, it's 7100 to 7128 South Yates. But you're right about that, Troy. I didn't think about it. It's a city block.
Right.
It's a block.
And it's
Pretty
the
much.
whole kind of it's a strip mall, or
Yeah,
that
it's
you
a
offer.
mall. It's a mall, strip mall with several businesses. We have jerk chicken place, a sandwich shop, uh, laundry facility called Spotless Solutions Laundry, business offices on the second floor, Walgreens pharmacy on the main floor, and we have a barbershop that's in this shopping center. And that building has been in operation since the early '90s. There, I bought it from another gentleman who was operating the mall. Vernon Caldwell is the individual who built that shopping mall. But I was blessed to be able to acquire it close to 3 years now.
Praise the Lord. So, many people say that what we're not doing, it's always a blessing to hear what we are doing of positive and what we're doing of good. And there's always those things that, unfortunately, those are overshadowed in many instances.
That's true.
So can you give us a little more content? And I'm going to bring up Dr. Shabazz back on with us. And just can you kind of share with us what you're looking for, what would be helpful as you're moving forward with this project? What do you need from our community? Because, as we discussed prior to coming on, that our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb. And that, us coming together, and one of the visions of the Collective Nine is knowing that collectively we can reach all or any goal that we put in front of us. And so we need our community to be involved in this project. So how can those who are excited, like I'm excited, how can they get involved? How can they learn more? What would you recommend for them to do?
I would confer that to Dr. Shabazz. She has really been phenomenal. And you mentioned about Allah blessing me with having individuals on my team. I really am blessed to be able to have a sister like Sister Constance on my team because she has already provided direction. Uh, we've been able to look to see how she's pooled all of these different resources together, human resources. And we're working in a way that it's really organized. And that's what I love about this whole thing, Sister Constance. So go ahead, Sister Constance, you could be able to share, I'm sure, some insight on what we need to be able to ask for in our listening audience.
Well, we are at a very important phase. And as you have probably always heard, no margin, no mission. We are actively looking for support from our community. Even though we are going after grant dollars, right now we are in contention for a major grant through the city of Chicago called the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund. But this is a long-term investment for our community, and this is for our community. So we're asking for your financial support. We have a donation page, which is showing up here, and you can do a one-time donation, or for those of you all who would like to be one of our sustaining donors, you can contact us. There's a button up there for contact. You can contact us and we can reach out to you and discuss how you can support us. We need support for the completion of our rehab. I mentioned earlier that we're doing for the first phase. Our full phase one will be 4,500 square feet, not just the 2,500 square feet. That'll allow us to have more exam rooms. We'll have more space for our integrative model including we'll have acupuncture clinics. We will have deep breathing meditation sessions for our educational services. And so we need your help. You know, when one has a vision for a program such as this, that vision, when we say that we're doing this for the community, it does not mean that that person with the vision, those people with the vision, are limiting the support to just those of us who have the idea. This has to be something that is supported by the community. We have to show, as they say, we got skin in the game. And you know, we as a people, oftentimes, we say that we don't have the resources, but yet somehow when there's something else that comes up that attracts us, that may just give us some temporary gain or entertainment or comfort. But with your donation to the Salaam Community Wellness Center, you can say that you are giving a gift, not just to yourself, but to your entire community. So we asked you to go to our website. You're seeing running across the bottom here. Our website is www.salamcwc.org. And also, those of you who are interested, who have some kind of skills or not, we'd love to entertain you becoming a volunteer. We're going to have people around to do all kinds of work to help us to keep our center running well. And then for those of you all who just want to find out about our services, you know, you can contact us. We actually have an answering service that you can call and leave a message for us. Our phone number is area code 773-207-3540. So there are many ways in which you can be a part of this project. Also, we'd like to hear your ideas, because we need to stay in contact with the community to be sure that we're serving them, that we're providing the services that the community needs. So that means that we need to have, you know, input from you. So if you're interested in maybe being on our advisory board, or just, you know, sending us suggestions or comments, this is what's going to make this a real legacy for the Woodlawn community. And this is not just for the Woodlawn community. I want to say this, although physically, our physical space will be there, because we're in a virtual environment now, thanks to COVID. We're going to be producing programs that can go in the entire world, across the world. In fact, I have a personal friend who's in Japan right now, and she's waiting to hear from us what we're doing so that she can help to spread the word about the Salaam Community Wellness Center. I say one other thing. We are in a medical crisis, not only because of COVID-19, but for those of you all who have been staying tuned with the issues around healthcare on the south side of Chicago, there's a plan that's almost been 2 years in the making to close not one, not two, not three, but 4 safety net hospitals. There's recent statistics that show that for the size of the population on the south side of Chicago, which is over 600,000 residents, that we have less than 50% of the needed providers. So we need to have this health center, you know, to teach people how to stay healthy. Excuse me. So that's my message to you.
Thank you for all the work that you've done over the years, the commitment that you've made. And brother Akbar, do you have any closing words for us? Or actually, I want to go to Dr. Constance and see if she has any closing words, and then we'll close out on you. Thank you for all the commitments, the sacrifices. And I know you've had a very long day. We've been working and going from Zoom to Zoom and this virtual call to this call. You know, one of the things that people said in the beginning, they were like so happy that they had time and energy to reflect and regroup and how their schedule. But for me, my schedule increased. I became more busy. So I'm still waiting for all this downtime that people were talking about, because I didn't get any. And it doesn't sound like you got any either, Dr. Shabazz. So I appreciate the sacrifice that you definitely have made, and particularly the sacrifice you made today. So any other closing words or comments you'd like to make?
Well,
I think I've said it all, to be honest about it. So I'm going to let my brother, excuse me, I'm getting hoarse because of all this
Yes,
good
ma'am.
talk.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And Brother Oscar, Brother Kirk.
well, thank you so much, Brother Troy, for taking the time and interest in what we're doing to breathe life into a disinvested community such as Westwood Line, where we're operating in. And I really appreciate you taking us and being able to put us out there to the public, because it's very important to be able to get more support and more moral support and goodwill behind this whole project that we're doing here. We'd like to be able to be a part of an ongoing update as we're progressing, because I don't know if you know this, Sister Constance, Benson and Sons, tomorrow they'll be taking the scaffolding off from the front, so we'll have a clear view of everything. And then the shutter company will be coming out. The window companies already did the measurements, so we got that coming. And it's just going to be, I really think, then as people ride down 67th, they're going to slow up traffic. They're going to be breaking their necks just trying to look to see what the hell has just happened over here. It's like, what's going on? Yeah, we know what's going on. It's the Muslims.
Yes.
It's the Muslims breathing reality
Right.
and bringing and making reality what Allah says in the Quran that we are instructed to do.
That's right.
Right. He said that you are the best nation evolved from mankind, for you are enjoying what is good and you forbid evil. And that's what we're doing. We're breathing in and putting this nation or this ummah, this community back in, because Allah has already willed it. And he has educated us. And he's brought this knowledge and this teaching to us. And we know what to do, Sister Constance. We're making it from, what did the doctor say? We're breathing this thing in from thin Quranic paper to thick action. We're turning thin Quranic paper into thick action. And this is what we're doing within this community by Allah's grace and mercy.
But thank you. We look forward to you coming back again, because there's already another video that's in motion that will, inshallah, be ready and available soon to show the progress in the work. So make sure you all stay in tune. Visit the Salaam Community Wellness Center's website, and you can see it scrolling right there at the bottom, salamcwc.org. That's SALAAMCWC.org. Check out the Collective 9, the Collective, the number 9.org. Sign up for the newsletter so you can stay abreast on what's going on. We thank all of those who have supported us. And until next time, peace.
Peace. Peace. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.